Hello everyone and welcome to the VR Fitness Summit panel, The History of VirZOOM. My name's Rob, I'm from VZfit, and I'm here to introduce your panelists today. Up first we have Eric Janszen. He's the CEO of VirZOOM, and he has a long history of executive technology industry background in system software engineering, marketing, and sales. Next up, we have Eric Malafeew. He is the CTO of VirZOOM. Eric has over 25 years of experience in the video games industry. He worked for Harmonix as a lead engineer and worked on Guitar Hero, Rock Band, and Dance Central. And for our moderator today, we have Kevin Brook. Kevin is a reporter for VR Fitness Insider. He's a VR enthusiast, and he also is an avid VZfit user. So let's bring it over to the guys.
Thanks.
John.
Hi, so do you want me to start then? We talk a little bit about you guys, where you started from, what the original vision was, and how it all began.
Well, at the very beginning, the idea was we understood that VR could be used in combination with stationary bikes and fitness equipment to create an entirely new kind of activity, right, that you couldn't do without VR. The most obvious thing being like biking, but as we'll explain, it was actually the last thing we did because we understood that you could use this medium for fantastical kinds of things that you couldn't do in the real world. And that was really our first generation of product. And again,
so basically, as soon as VR launched, you had ideas of what you could use it for.
Yeah, we were prototyping things like that early on, as soon as VR came out. And, you know, I was at a game company, so we were making things like music visualizers in VR. I did a silly game, you know, based on log rolling, because VR makes you think about things you could do with your physical body that you just wouldn't think would be fun to do with a controller in your hand. And our game company called Harmonix specialized in making games that use your whole body. Like we made Dance Central and we made Antigrav, which used the iToy camera. And most famously, we used Guitar Hero and Rock Band to popularize instruments. So when VR came out, you know, it was all about what is the greatest thing to do with it. And, you know, in meeting up with Eric, who's an avid cyclist, we figured actually like exercising, you know, using gaming in VR for good was worth, you know, founding and thinking through like what kind of a business, you know, what kind of a company could be made out of that.
Right, okay. So what sort of year was this then that you got together and started VirZOOM?
DK1s, yeah.
Yeah, in 2014, I think the DK1 came out from Palmer Luckey, a Kickstarter. And we had our hands on one of those and connected it to a bike that we rigged up with sensors and programming with an Arduino. I remember Eric putting tape on the back wheel of the bike so we could measure how fast it went around. And, you know, we created a little terrain and just rode around, and that felt good. But what felt great was when we did something kind of fantastical, which was we made the bike fly, you know, kind of ET. And then, you know, we connected your pedaling with your flying, and that felt like Superman. So we knew there was something in there and, you know, set about like trying to figure out these experiences that could get you to pedal, because anything that made you move in VR could be, you know, a workout. And we didn't want, you know, we wanted to make an experience where we didn't stick a calorie meter in front of you, you know, or a hill climb. We wanted you playing the game to be the workout. And we wanted it to be obvious the minute you put the VR headset on, you know, what you're supposed to do. And the first thing we actually did wasn't a bicycle. We downloaded a horse, you know, I say downloaded, but, you know, we used horse model, and we put our viewpoint on the back of the horse. And what was initially a test, you know, just immediately you felt the connection to this horse, you know, and we realized that VR was going to be this thing that could be very personal, and you would be attached to your avatar. And that was how we created our first set of games, which we called VirZOOM Arcade. We made 11 different kinds of experiences where you could be a race car or a tank or a Pegasus, you know, from that flying horse idea. And we put it on all of the VR headsets at the time, which were PC headsets. So we had to make these appealing to gamers. We gave them games and high scores and leaderboards. And that was our first product. We built a bike to go along with those games because that was the thing we wanted to give you exercise, and you just had to buy the bike. You didn't have to hook up anything or have anything else besides the VR headset.
Yeah, we assumed that you already had VR, so it was the simplest, lowest friction way to allow you to use our content, right? So you don't have to go out and buy a bike and put a bunch of things together. You just order this bike off of Amazon and off you go.
And the first round of VR wasn't focused on fitness and the kind of things we wanted to do with it. They were very much focused on making games, because that's the simplest way to explain why you should get VR. And we've always seen VR's potential as bigger, gamifying things. So, but we made our games and our bike, and it helped to have all that Guitar Hero and Rock Band production experience. So we have connections to factories, that could help us make those things and sell them. So we were doing all of that as a startup for the first couple years of existence.
Right. And was this, I know you were software developers and game developers, was the bike your first actual hardware audience?
Yeah, the first actual hardware was the VirZOOM bike.
Okay.
So it's funny, we've kind of come full circle now, but we started out putting sensors on an actual bike. And then, we saw trainers and we saw how people did things on bikes and realized just for the cheapest, most best designed experience, we should make our own bike for this. And I have a version here next to me, but Rob can also show a version of it.
Right, okay.
But this was our original bike, and you can see it's actually got triggers and controllers. We were going to do a lot more with that, but it also wasn't the kind of bike that a real fitness enthusiast would use, and you wouldn't see those kind of folding bikes in gyms. And
right.
That kind of became our next, our next conquest, because after we had gotten this thing out to a lot of home consumers, VR companies started turning their attention to businesses.
Right.
So
Okay.
we went in a business direction for a year.
There's a reason why there's so many different kinds of bikes out there, right? Because people's bodies are so different, and their needs are for lightweight for the home and heavy duty for the gym, and so one of the problems that we ran into with the VZ bike is it was an easy way for consumer to use our content, which is really what our business is about our games. But people would say it's a little small for me, and it's falling apart because I beat on it every day and that kind of thing. So we knew that eventually we'd have to support this range of higher quality, different designs of both consumer and commercial equipment.
Yeah, so that's when the decision came to make the sensor kit.
Yeah.
Was that at the same time as the Quest came on the scene, or did the sensor come first?
Well, nothing was really linear, but we had thought of the sensor kit very early on as just a way to sell something at a lower price point, kind of more portably, that you could attach to your own bike. But then there became a lot of interest from the commercial sector and from the VR companies. And we realized that the sensor kit is something that gyms could attach, to bikes they had, and they pay a lot more for those bikes than you or I do. So, but one thing they needed that the home consumer didn't need as much was an actual VR system, and also like a TV to show other people next to you what you're doing in that VR headset. So that was the advent of the product we now call VZfit. It was a version that was designed for strictly workouts, go into the gym, sit on a bike. We made a run at that, and it used PC VR. But then, as you and I know, the next generation of VR came out about a year ago in the form of the Oculus Quest. And that changed, completely our equation. It allowed us to focus again on consumers and use the sensor, to sell to consumers. We realized, in the intervening years that smart bikes and other people's sensors and smart trainers had come a long way and could provide the kind of speed we needed. And the latest Oculus Quest headset still gave us that high-end PC VR feel and the ability to track your head, which is how you lean and steer in the games. So we devoted ourselves fully to mobile VR at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it opens up options for portability for people, huge. I mean, how many people have a bike next to their PC? You know, it's quite limited. I couldn't even use my Rift S with VZfit if I wanted to, because they're in separate rooms. So I'd need a, 15-meter cable or something to run it through. So the Quest, I think, has really opened up the possibilities for bringing cardio machines into VR, because you might have your bike in a garage or in a basement or somewhere away from your PC. Or you can take it to the gym, I guess, if you're brave enough to, not care what people around you think. And I guess that will become more commonplace over time, I think.
That could happen. Obviously, COVID has taken its toll on gyms too. So, we have seen a lot more business and interest, because people realize they need to get workouts while they're at home, more now with the virus.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was quarantined for months, so having all my stuff here has been.
Yeah, our normal seasonality for our business and everybody in the indoor fitness equipment business, things kind of peak in January, and they then tend to kind of trail off. Typically kind of bottom in this month in August. But the pandemic kind of stretched it out, right? Because people couldn't go out, and couldn't go to the gym. And, the general consensus in the industry is that's really, it's produced kind of a permanent change in consumer behavior. There's, 59% of people that used to go to gyms in the recent survey said they don't ever plan to go back. So, this creates an audience of, consumers who probably wouldn't have thought of using these kinds of products before, but now they are. So we're glad to be help solve that problem for them.
But our interest was in going wider with our platform. So we had gotten to that sensor kit point, and now we're running on a bunch of different sensors and smart bikes, and soon smart rowers and ellipticals and anything that supports the new Bluetooth standard. That's relatively recent. Within the last year, even a bunch of new hardware has supported that. We're also going to push more into the different kinds of equipment. So we've been bike focused because that was the most natural thing to expect. When you pedal, you go forward. And it was also an easy thing to steer with your head, because you're rooted on your seat and your handlebars. But there's plenty of other exercise equipment you can do that well with. We've tried it on rowers. We've tried it on ellipticals. And those both feel really good with Explorer. Ellipticals are a little tricky when you're playing the more gamey things like the tank game, because your button is on like a moving handlebar. But for things that are more about just moving, and I think that's what you're going to see more. It's a perfect fit. The only place that we don't think we'll go ourselves is VR on a treadmill, just because treadmills are dangerous enough.
Yeah, that sounds like an insurance suit waiting to happen.
Yeah, but we won't be making the hardware anymore, and it's really VR community is a bunch of experimenters and people who are trying new things. I'll bring up something else that you shouldn't try at home, but some people recently have taken VZfit out on actual bikes with the headset on, and they've
I saw the video. I saw the
their own body at risk.
Yeah.
So, it's funny. Like, I want to give them tips. Use the tilt mode instead of the lean mode. But I hesitate to encourage them in any way.
One question that I'm interested in, I know you started out as PC VR, so I never experienced VZfit Play on the PC. I imagine you're able to push the graphics much harder on PC VR. When you moved to mobile, you didn't just go to the Quest, but you also support the Oculus Go as well. I wondered how hard the technical difficulties were for making what was a PC VR experience work on an Oculus Go.
Yeah, for sure. We also we even got onto those mobile phones, Daydream and Gear VR, before
Right.
the Go.
Okay.
And so what I'd say is that the Go, it's got about a quarter of the power of the minimum spec like PC or a PSVR.
Right.
So, as game developers, you understand exactly what costs and what's important in your game. And we were able to deliver, I'd say 75% of that experience, at 25% cost. So, we don't have 10,000 trees, and as many shadows and as much, grass and vegetation and things like that. But we were able to keep, the scale of all of the worlds because it's all about motion. We're able to keep all the extra players. And, most importantly, we're able to keep the connection, the feeling of movement and the ease of use of just, getting on the bike, putting on the headset and pedaling. That experience, keeping it easy to get into is important.
Like I said, I know Oculus have announced that they're discontinuing the Go. Is that, without your support, I'll have to cease, I guess, next year when they are no longer supporting it. So you'll be exclusively on the Quest.
Yeah, it's definitely going to put, the Quest will definitely become the baseline, so we'll be taking full advantage of that. And the Quest offers something that the Go never had, which is hand tracking and head tracking. And that's really the most important thing that we wanted to bring to customers and new customers' attention is that the next version of VZfit will have a new main mode that you can play without a bike or any fitness equipment. You'll just be able to play your head and hand.
Not even hand controllers, you'll just use the hand tracking as well.
Yeah, if you just look at all the YouTube videos, how to do workouts, you see 10, 20-minute workouts that will raise your heart rate. And we think that's a perfect way to pair the kind of way we can move around the world as the motivation that you have for doing that. So we're inventing kind of an interesting new vehicle that you stand on and do your exercises and follow a trainer. And you can move around the world the same way as you can on the bike. In fact, you'll be able to play with bike riders and other stand-up exercisers all together in multiplayer. So you can do that now. You can see an extra bike in the video. But, just imagine 8 of you, going down this road. This road happens to be in Montana, going to the Sun Road. And, we've picked locations that we ourselves have been to or have seen vacations or our customers have said that they loved. And we realize there's so many miles of world to cover, that we actually need our customers to help us make these rides and radar rides. And something we really, that video opens up that we hadn't talked about was the creation of this whole new game that's based on Street View imagery. So we still have our collection of games that are those kind of fantasy avatars, but this new product called Explorer lets you go anywhere in the world that Street View has gone and make your own rides and share your own rides with AI and multiplayer built in.
Yeah, I have to say Explorer is what VZfit is all about for me. I'm exclusively on Explorer now.
Yeah.
But what I think, because it's obviously photorealistic, I kind of feel like you get a much better graphical experience than you do on VZfit Play.
And we hope to combine those apps. So once we have the new stand-up mode, we may bring those virtual play experiences into that game together. So for instance, we have paddling around a lake, kayak around a lake experience. You'll be able to do that as a stand-up paddleboard, without.
Okay.
So
you'd look down and see yourself on a standing board, you mean, rather than a
yeah, and that's something else we have experience with, and so we just want to replicate the kinds of things that we do in real life to exercise in VirZOOM, and make that feel as quick and easy as possible, and also, if possible, make you feel like an even better athlete than you are. That's always
important in VR, because you need to kind of feel like a badass doing what you're doing if a game makes you feel.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the trick with all games, right? In Guitar Hero, you're playing a plastic guitar.
Yeah.
You're not Jimi Hendrix, but you probably know the guitar line and have more rhythm and appreciate what it takes to be a Jimi Hendrix than before a game like Guitar Hero came out. So
Yeah, that's it. But if the game can enhance the aspects that make you feel good and eliminate the bits that make you feel, you know, watching people play VR and they look kind of like idiots, but when you've got the headset on, it feels totally different.
It kind of goes back to the original conception, which is we're trying to solve a problem for the customers that have difficulty motivating themselves to exercise in some regular way for some reasonable period of time. And if you kind of beat them over the head and, you know, tell them they should do this, I mean, they're going to try it, but then they're going to get tired of it. So our objective was always to make it fun and varied and something that you want to do versus something you feel like you should do in this case. And then we have this Brunel study that was done recently that actually measured the effectiveness. I think that you covered that story.
Yes, I did. It was effective music as well, wasn't it, on the experience, I think.
Yeah, it was a very, I mean, it scientifically measured what's happening, and the term they use is disassociation. It basically is this fancy scientific term for you're sort of wrapped up in what's going on. You don't feel tired. You don't feel you're sweating. You're distracted. You know, from your physics. So it's very much like other kinds of physical activity that you do that you find enjoyable. If you're a cyclist, I mean, for me, I don't notice I'm getting tired because I enjoy the cycling. For other people, that's dance or tennis or whatever physically engages them that they find, you know, compelling and enjoyable. And this is a new one. Yeah.
I know for me, I mean, my bike hadn't been used for years. It was just a clothes horse, and now I'm using it 3-4 times a week. Even more with this summer challenge. It was 20 days in a row.
That's great. I mean, you know, our goal is like to make all those bikes, you know, worthwhile again. And we're just motivated by all the possibilities in VR. You know, we're trying to solve all the problems that we encounter in Explorer. Right now, the problem is so many people are making rides that we need a better way to find them, you know, and rate the best ones. And we're thinking about ways that people can add things to rides, you know, annotations or pop-ups. Beyond that, you know, gameplay we can add to the rides. And with the hand controllers, you know, we're going to continue to support fitness equipment. So, you know, this will be a game where if you're a bike rider now and you just want to get off and do different kinds of, you know, squats, lunges, you know, arm lift kind of workouts, you can do that. And if you start out, you know, as a stand-up exerciser and notice that we connect all the fitness equipment, you can do that too. You know, there's fitness equipment has a purpose, you know, it makes it easier to exercise or, you know, more comfortably like exercise for longer periods of time inside. So we do think that's a big differentiation for us and will continue to be.
So are you saying someone could use the bike and then get off the bike and within the same workout sort of just...
Yeah, that's the idea is, you know, the rides will be the same, but you'll change the kind of, it'll essentially kind of change the avatar you have. And it'll change the kind of trainer you have. So if you're on a bike right now and you have a trainer who's riding ahead of you and giving you encouragement, but what she does is ride slower or faster to get you to do different intervals, we'll have somebody, you know, who's riding in front of you, but doing the kinds of exercises you could be doing. Or you could decide to ride without a trainer and just, you know, move your hands, you know, as if you were wanting to walk or jog down, you know, your favorite neighborhood route.
Also, with the summer challenge that we've just done, before I was using it purely as a workout, I would set my bike up for a 30-minute hill climb, and VZfit Explorer was kind of the world that would take my mind off of doing that. With this challenge, I've actually got into the travel aspect more as well. I would stop at locations and get off the bike and look around and switch to the 2D mode as well and see it.
You know, you touched on something else that's important for people to know about Explorer, which is if you see the videos online, it sort of looks like a video, you know, like, and lots of gyms have video rides, you know, but besides being in VR, the important thing to know is that you actually have control, you know, you are doing all the steering. And if you ride an open ride, as opposed to one that has like a route, you can turn, you know, left instead of go forward when you want to. You can actually ride anywhere you want, which you can never do in a movie, you know?
Yeah. It is amazing. I think it's funny because when I talk about VR to people, VZfit Explorer is one of the things I talk about the most. Because to me, to have a standalone headset and a bike that you can use anywhere, and now all of it coming in at a consumer price point that is actually affordable for people.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Even 3 or 4 years ago, you just wouldn't have thought this would be. So I'm kind of excited about the travel aspect of it, because you've got Google Wander and Google Earth, but you've got a thing that you can actually walk around a town and explore in. It's kind of clicking a mouse or clicking a controller to advance, and I think this makes it so much more fun.
Yeah,
That's like
that'll be very popular use for new version of this. Just literally walking tours, going someplace where you want to go and walk around and stop and take a picture.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and for friends and relatives and stuff. If you've got like grandparents and you want to show them where they grew up, and
in some ways, we're doing AR in VR. By the pop-ups too. That you can turn on in cities to see. What these locations are around you. And we want that to grow and become more informational, because when you ride by something that has some history, it's great to be able to look that up. And I'd love to be able to go there with personal, rides that people make, to really like tell you what's fantastic about this ride, or, what's around that corner. And, it can be personally meaningful or just historically meaningful, but we think there's going to be a lot of expression, that people can give each other through Explorer, and we want to push on that.
I found that quite an interesting part of it, and also as the sort of communities grow, you've got people on the Facebook group sharing their rides and stuff.
Yeah.
There's Sean Tamblin, who is an intrepid explorer. He's gone all around Japan. Now he's going across the entire.
He's a fantastic.
I love his pictures that he shows of all these like towns that he's found, the kind of places like you'd never see on TV because they don't come.
Yeah, exactly. You took one ride through Russia and took all these pictures of these beautiful, brightly colored houses in the countryside in Russia. You probably never imagined were there.
It's kind of buildings I've never seen before. It all looks
exactly. Right.
Yeah. I just I'll tell you, so we, are seeing people make new things, and sometimes they'll experience, difficulties with some kind of a ride or another, and we'll try to figure out what went wrong. But usually what I'm struck by is like, wow, this is an amazing, ride, like I've never been here. What is this? Oh, it's Norway. Oh, and then I'm more happy to fix the bug, because, that's what makes us different, from a game that's just got 20 prepackaged rides, is we want everything that you could do, to work. And Google has been crazy, with how many places they've taken their cars. And we can also work with like handheld rigs that people have, taken along hiking trails, and they've put them on kayaks down the Colorado River. And
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Google's mapped 10 million miles of roads and paths, and
it's what I like about it is because a bike, you can, someone who's riding every day can put in hundreds of miles a week potentially. You need that kind of unlimited scope that Explorer gives you. Like, it doesn't matter who's riding it; it's big enough. There's always new places to discover.
There's an unlimited amount, and we're going to make that evident in the game by incorporating, a map, the kind of thing that Wander has, where you'll be able to see the rides, like where they are, where you've gone, see where you are right now. Because, a neat feature of Wander that I think will be fun to do is just like random location,
Yeah, that'd be cool. But just like scenic hotspots and stuff. I like that you, with the rides that you chose, one of them for the summer challenge was Rondo in Spain, because I guess you probably know, but if you start Google Earth VR, it's one of the places it drops you into. So I straight away recognised it because I've been there in Google Earth VR. So it was great to cycle through that experience.
Awesome.
Yeah, what it was like.
We got to give credit to the guy off screen, Rob Collins, who made those rides, specifically for the VRFit Summit. And he just had a stroke of inspiration, in coming up with all those locations.
Oh, you made some good picks there.
Yeah. And then it was super gratifying to see everybody riding them. The number of people we had, close to a couple hundred people trying it, half the way around the world, in terms of, the number of miles that people rode on it. And, just for this 1 month tournament. So we had
miles, yeah.
I think we'll continue to do tournaments like this on our own just because it's so motivating. And it kind of reminds me of an earlier one we did where it was a little bit like a scavenger hunt. We made a ride up Mount Rainier where
the UFOs, yes, I remember.
UFO, right.
I thought of them, but I got some of them. I like that. I loved going back to the summer challenge. I think I knew the Dolomites would be beautiful because it's famously so. But the Japanese ride was amazing to me because like the ocean, the archipelago, all the islands, the bridges and stuff. There was an amazing, I don't know if it was a sunset or a sunrise at the end that was just looked incredible in VR. A few people put videos up of it, didn't they? But some real gems in there, and I guess there's an almost unlimited amount of them out there for people to find.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting sold on it as a travel app as well. I like the idea now of doing my 30-minute workout, but once I've done that, staying on the bike a bit longer and just exploring where I am. And
yeah, I mean, that kind of fits with the conception of VZfit as not necessarily a hardcore fitness application, right? About working out and getting all hot and sweaty and drinking Gatorade and all that, but as a side effect of doing other things like hiking or touring, or it's real exercise, but it's a different way.
It certainly has that though, doesn't it? It caters to everybody because I did a review for VZfit Play earlier in the year, and I did the racetrack.
Yeah.
I think the oval racetrack where you're racing the Formula One cars. That was absolutely exhausting, trying to keep up with my lap times and trying to keep up with the other cars.
You don't always feel like doing that, right? Sometimes you just feel like going for a long walk, right? And that's
the boat ride, like the pedal one where you're feeding the ducks, is just so much more relaxing. You have got for everybody, for every kind of taste. But if you really want to push yourself, there's stuff there that.
Yeah. Well, we definitely wanted to make it a full range because we don't also just think of it as an individual product. We think of it as a family product. So when you get a VZfit membership, any number of your family can make like accounts and play that and have their own progress and their own leaderboards and their own settings. And, hopefully like there's games, that suit them, well. And that's why we made all those different experiences because some people.
Yeah, that's something I've seen come up on the forums quite a lot. You actually only need one account, don't you? One sensor to have everyone on your family use it. Is that correct?
Yeah. So right now the membership pays for your sensor, and you can make, the VZfit accounts you can then log in with. You can make unlimited amounts of, and we'll keep that going once we play on the Oculus Store. When you download it, we're going to tie it to the owner's Oculus account. So basically, anybody who logs in on that headset or a headset they own will be able to play it as well.
Yeah. Are you envisioning VZfit to become more than just a bike mode then? The extra mode that you've got coming, you expect people not even with a bike to like this? You're going to make it...
Well, you'll be able to use it either way. So I'll let Eric explain, but basically 2 modes. Standing, right?
Right.
Using the hand controllers that come with the Quest and position tracking for steering. Or the way that we've been using it now for some time, which is with a bike.
Yeah, if you think about it now, it would even be valuable, and we're planning to drop the very first version of this on our VZfit customers next month. It'll be initially useful just as a way to try out Explorer before you have a bike, because now that you don't need, you don't need to buy our hardware for it. So you can make an account and download the game, but right now you're kind of stuck when it says pedal the bike. So we're going to allow it to be just a way that you can bypass that and get right in and see what it's like to move around. that will become the new main mode because that's how everybody is going to download it from the Oculus Store. But you'll be very easily able to connect any device off the main menu. And then, when you play it again, it'll be just like now. It drops you right into the bike mode.
Did I just hear that right? It's coming to the Oculus Store, so it won't be an email anymore.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. So that's the big news. That's the big news. So, right now the process is you have to download the app kind of behind the scenes. We're on the Oculus Store, but we haven't been on the Oculus Store front. And, there were some technical issues for that, and those have been worked out. And Oculus is also very excited about the stand-up mode where you can play it, without needing any extra hardware, because when people download something, they want to be able to play it right away. So that, we don't have a time to give out right today, but it's important for everybody to know that's what we're working on and toward. And so we hope 10 times the people get to experience it that way, because we know it's not an easy thing to hear about, or, once hearing about it, to find it, because you can't just search for it now in the store.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I mean, I'm a VR enthusiast. I even write for a VR fitness site, but I didn't try VZfit until I was invited to try it by you guys, mainly because I guess I was put off by the initial purchase point, because you had the sensor kit then, but also there was a kind of, I don't really know how to get it, because it's, like you say, it's not on the Quest.
Yeah.
It's a lot of steps.
Yeah, people will download it, won't they, and try it.
Yeah. I mean, we're incredibly excited. We've tried to make the current process work as well as it could, but you're right. It's not the easiest thing. Everyone's time is valuable. And, this will now be something that will just be right in the storefront in the fitness section, and you'll be able to download it and try it and play it immediately. And, get a lot of value out of it just, from standing up kind of exercises. It'll be a full fitness application. And then, you'll realize, you could also play this with any kind of fitness equipment you have. You'll still be able to play all the old play games with a bike on the side. And like I said, we'll bring more of those virtual experiences into the Oculus Store VZfit, as time goes on.
So you've got lots of plans for the future then.
Yeah, and we the way we work, and we do consider ourselves a fitness service because we're continually, adding features and game modes and gameplay. So, in the past couple months, you've seen us add snapshots, the ability to upload pictures of you with custom camera angles and poses, because, how it's great that you can travel anywhere around the world, but you really want to show that off. And then we realized, everybody kind of looks the same, so we, gave everyone skin colors, and now you can earn coins, for driving along routes and customize your avatar with that. So
yeah, I really like the new snapshot feature. One thing, and I've said this to Robert, one thing I really love is if we could have a scrapbook, so where it keeps our pictures somewhere we can see where we've been kind of thing.
Yeah, you'd want to also just be able to jump back to those places, right, and ride from there.
Yeah,
totally. I think the end of the story is we're interested in making VR, the motivation, or leveraging VR. So it's moving through these worlds, and we're always going to have something interesting to do or build that keeps it fresh. So if it's gameplay that takes your mind off pedaling, or if it's seeing, kind of unlimited sights in Explore, they're both on the table, and we hope to combine those apps. Thanks for participating in the VR Fitness Summit and making that a success.
Yeah, I really want you to make another one already, because I've really enjoyed it. It's made me realize I can actually exercise a lot more than I thought I could, because I use a row machine, I do weights, and I play VR fitness games as well. So I've done this on top of everything, but I realized I can actually do it on top. So I'll probably increase the amount of cycling that I've done.
Right. Glad to hear it. Well, very good. Thank you again, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.